It's like 10 years ago. I've got a dull, I've got kind of dull views.
That went over. That didn't go over well.
This kid house one was good, but
Did it go over well at all?
I should have. Yeah, we are.
Oh, you got a.
Feels like,
What
He had a nephew.
I thought you said that.
He comes up from time to time, and he's been parking his truck there, I guess. It's
Is that-
security
okay.
thing, or it could be, Bob Hicks, who goes to lovely care of those ladies. I mean, he took good care of those
Betty?
ladies. And those in particular, but, but
That's her nephew's truck.
yes, that's, well, that's what Kathy told me, so.
This is the March 13th work session of the Elizabethtown City Council. Mr. Bennett will bring our invocation.
Let's bow our heads, please. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join us in a pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is Mr. Jeff Rogers. Jeff Rogers, want to come up to the podium and identify yourself and tell us what you want to talk about.
Mr. Mayor, Council. Hi, my name is Jeff Rogers. I live on Nightingale Drive in Elizabethtown, and I'm sure most everybody knows where it is. It's at the light at the bottom of the hill from Target on Ring Road. I moved there in June, and it has become apparent that it's used as a cut through from Ring Road over to North Dixie. Lakewood Drive has plenty of stop signs on it. From what I understand, and I've talked to only a couple people over there, they have a problem with people running stop signs and speeding through their neighborhood. In September, I called Chief Scheller, and he put me in touch with Officer Willoughby, and Officer Willoughby and I had discussed it at length. And Officer Willoughby had provided me with some data that he had collected. And in a 3-day period, going north on Nightingale Drive from Ring Road, in that 3-day period, there were 1,416 cars going north. Now, I'm sure there were some repeats and what have you, but the average speed in that 25-mile zone was 30.30 miles per hour. That doesn't sound real bad, but the maximum speed was recorded at 54 miles per hour in a 25. In that same 3-day period, going south toward Ring Road, there were 1,062 cars at an average speed of 29.62 and a maximum speed of 49 miles per hour. Going north and south, that's 2,478 cars in that 3-day period at an average of 826 cars a day. And that's high traffic in that area for that street. There's a lot of kids play on that street. My wife and I are raising my grandson. He's 10 years old. He plays with kids up and down the street. Some live on the same side, some live across the street, some live on another street around the corner. But these kids are riding bicycles, their scooters and all that, even though you try to keep them on the sidewalk. And we do our best to keep them out of the street. But the speed is excessive. I sat on the front porch and I watch cars speed down the street. Some of them are residents. Some of them I know just live right around the corner, and they come flying down that street. And I'm sure that 54 miles an hour is not the highest speed that's come down that street. I'm not sure exactly what the solution is. I don't think stop signs would necessarily take care of things, because we have only, I think, one cross street besides the street at the north end of Nightingale. The speed bumps, I don't know how the city feels about speed bumps, but it'd be kind of hard to put that on one street and not throughout the whole neighborhood, going all the way through up to Dixie. But I've asked for more patrol. There at the north end of Nightingale is Nightingale Court, and there are 2 houses on that court. And if an officer had, if a patrolman could set up on that end of the road and catch them coming over that hill, at least just to see, just to witness what was going on up there. But I'd rather be proactive than reactive when it comes to kids in the neighborhood possibly being hurt or killed even. Just the other night, there was a car that at the end of Nightingale, there's not a stop sign for them to turn left or right on. It's just the right of way. And, people miss that turn and end up in the ditch. Just the other night, there was a car ended up in the ditch. And by the time, I heard something, I went outside. Next thing I know, there's a wrecker out there pulling him out of the ditch. Circumstances, I don't know, unless he was just going too fast to make the turn. But I see it all the time. And I'd like for, I'm asking for some kind of help with the speed on that street. And if we can take care of that before a kid gets hurt. Now, a kid may have never gotten hurt on that street since its inception, and that's all fine and well, but there is a first time for everything, and I would appreciate some help with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, would you want to comment?
I think we've plenty this information, and I guess all the information may be aware of it. Northbound, we had about 621 vehicles. 662 traffic. So we have some that are hitting the higher speeds. So 41 miles per hour or higher, we had about 4%, about 50 cars. So that would be northbound. And then also for your southbound, you had, I'm sorry. Usually people don't have trouble hearing me. They can hear me pretty well. And then the southbound, you've got about 45% of the cars, which 479 of them are
doing between 21 and 30, and about 41% between 31 and 40, with approximately 3% that are doing the over 41 mile per hour portion of it, which is 28 vehicles. We also noticed that the largest spike of vehicles measures between was about 7 a.m., which is about 109. And then between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m., the average number that traveled that direction was about 64 per hour. That's southbound. The same information on the northbound would be a 554 vehicles were measured between noon and 8 a.m., which is about 40% of the traffic on that one. So Don and I have talked about this briefly. I know we talked about getting together and talk about any other options that may be viable and kind of come together on that. So we'll be having more conversation on that as well.
And it is a connector street, so there's going to be through traffic.
Yes.
So do you want to address ways of addressing this also?
And this street is also parallel to Lakewood, where we've already done
It's parallel with Lakewood and also Oreo. And looking at it, just received the data. It does coincide with what we found on Lakewood as far as the average speeds. Northbound traffic had a higher average speed than southbound.
Right.
So, and at Lakewood, at Nightingale and Ring, that's in that transition area where it goes from 35 to 50, or if you're going east, and if you're coming west, it's 50 to 35. So if traffic is, or if vehicles are turning off of Ring Road going west, they might not have made that adjustment yet. So look at the data, get with Chief, anybody else that we need to get with, maybe engineering, maybe Ed Pope. I know on Lakewood, Chief Schiller and Ed and I got together and we'll look at it. I mean, looking at the data, without going out there, I want to go out there and observe traffic, see what signage we've got. I believe they have adequate speed limit signs. When you come off a Ring, there's a speed limit sign. When you come off a Quail Run, there's a speed limit sign. There's several connecting streets between Nightingale and Lakewood. We have not installed the speed limit signs on those because we saw that there was a deficiency when we did the Lakewood Drive study. So we're going to install those. Also look at the other stop signs because we noticed that there was irregularities in the sizes. I think at the Quail Run and Nightingale, I think one is 30-inch, one is 24-inch. So we'll address that. I think if you look at the average speed, you would probably be looking at non-physical measures, which would be signage, the trailer setup out there, because we're still going to go back to Lakewood and run another study on that to see what the results of the measures that we took in that area. So we'll look at it and we'll come back with a report. Mr. Rogers, I'll get your information, your phone number and stuff. So I'd like to meet with you out on the site and we'll do some observation and see what we find.
Don, how long ago was it that we did the traffic study? Was
September.
it like 2
September for Nightingale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for Nightingale.
Okay.
So, and we were really careful as far as the approach to Lakewood, and we when we met, we went through some criteria because there's a line there that says, okay, if you go too drastic, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but I'm saying if you go too drastic, then you cause traffic patterns to shift, or you have that potential to do that. So, we'll look at it and we'll compare it to the criteria, and we'll look at it and see what we come up with.
Don't
Yes,
you
sir.
say drastic, you would mean something like traffic tables?
Traffic tables, speed
People
bumps.
would start going to Lakewood and go around them.
Correct. Now those would be considered physical measures. Okay. Non-physical would be, could be signage, education, whatever that's not physical. Physical would be actual putting facilities out there, speed bumps, speed humps, speed tables, whatever. You can do pavement markings, you can do signage. Like over on Lakewood, we did stop ahead signs 250 foot prior to each intersection because they have 2 4-way stops on Lakewood. It's at Quail Run and Lakewood, and then Silk Oak and Quail Run. Here you have 2 intersections. I think it's the Quail Run and then the street that's closest to Ring Road. I think that might be a 4-way intersection there. So, but you're coming off of Ring Road to have a 4-way stop. I don't know. Again, collecting the data, I don't know that I would recommend that. So possibly, you look at the intersection at Quail Run and Nightingale, that's a possibility, because if you're not aware of the area, you may very well drive through that intersection and get into the cul-de-sac. So, any other questions?
I don't think they're cutting through to go to Dixie. I think it's just a big neighborhood and they're all cutting through to get to the other end of the houses.
There's 550 lots roughly. There's 3 developments back here and there's 550 lots. So there can be a lot of vehicular traffic that is local. And again, that was found, as we went to pretty much detail on the Lakewood Drive, and we not only looked at Lakewood Drive, but we evaluated the area.
Because it's not an easy cut through with all the turns you have to make to get to North Dixie.
Well, because you have to navigate, not only, you have to navigate Oriole, then you have to cut over to Nightingale.
That's right.
So,
What we found in my subdivision, the speeders are the people that live right there. You know.
That's what Jeff said,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys are gonna converse with Mr. Rogers?
okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay, Seth, you want to talk about geese again? Yeah.
Geese.
Yeah.
Basically, last week you all had asked that we look at the contract, and we revised the contract, sent it back to Geese Runners, who is proposing to do the work for us out at the lake. And what you all have in front of you is the copy that have come back from them by their attorney. So basically can answer any questions, but this, the very first part, the indemnification part, is taken from the city contract, and what they'd added in was the up to the limited stated herein, and then Geese Runners' total liability for any consequences described in this paragraph shall not exceed $100,000. So that right there is the change that their lawyer, their attorney, has come back with.
Seth, I'm just now getting a chance to read it, but in item 8, they're going to provide us with a certificate of insurance for $1 million.
Yes.
So what's the $100,000 limit for?
I'll let Dee Dee kind of
Well, it's
explain that.
unusual. I haven't seen anything like this before. I don't know who his attorney is. I haven't had a chance to talk to them. I'd be happy to. But this is apparently what was the recommendation of his attorney. And, ultimately, it's really going to be up to a judge and or jury, really, who's going to pay what, anyway.
But it just looks weird. It looks like you could eliminate item 7 and just use item 8, or you could eliminate item 8 and just use item 7. But one says we're liable for $100,000, and the other one says we'll give you an insurance certificate for $1 million.
It's my understanding, and Seth, correct me if I'm wrong, that what he will agree to is either this or the mutual indemnification clause that we had proposed previously. So we're thinking he'll come back and would take the mutual indemnification, and take out these limits. But as of right now, this is what he would agree to.
And you would rather speak to his lawyer first. I'd rather for you to speak to his lawyer, and I'd feel more comfortable.
But,
with
again, time is kind of of the essence, and so we sort of need some direction from you all on that, because obviously now we're going to delay, another week, and I don't know if at this point it makes that much difference in concept, does it?
Not really. I mean, at the end of the day, I think both sides want to make sure that we're comfortable moving forward, and whatever we propose at this point, that's what it is. And
Why don't we just eliminate item 7?
Yeah, I'll just
Go with item 8.
Just go with.
Well, Seth, does he have insurance now? Does he currently have insurance?
he will get insurance
not
based.
have
He does not have insurance, but he does have access to it, and he's already cleared that with his insurance company. So basically, he's waiting on a contract to be signed. The insurance can be taken care of immediately upon signature of the contract, and he's ready to go. So insurance is lined up at this point.
So how long has he been in business? How long has he been doing this?
A while. I can't answer that, but
So do we know if he's had any kind of incidents or
He's-
claims
he
that
has
would
not.
preclude him to putting a limit on his insurance?
He has not. The $1 million coverage is standard city coverage. It's what we put in all of our contracts. So that's what was proposed to him as far as that goes.
To the million and.
And I assume he'd be satisfied with that, but, that's what he's suggesting is we take out any indemnification language at all. Is that what you're suggesting? And just as long as we know he's got the $1 million insurance. Can you all
And
agree
he
with
names
that?
us as an additional insured under his
That's a fairly
policy.
long problem, right? I mean, he's going to do that.
As far as I understand, that would be fine. Typically, in every agreement we've ever done, this is the route we've gone, was the $1 million insurance policy.
Did you say he was fine with the $1 million?
Yes, initially he was. So
Well, unless I'm missing something
That's
on
covered.
item 7, just take it out. We'll just take the $1 million coverage.
Well, if you have the city, if he has $1 million coverage, the city has coverage. Doesn't what item 7 do to you is give you an additional $100,000?
See, that's,
No, I think it says that it limits.
Limits it.
Limits him to
Sounds
100,000.
like it can't
In
exceed
the
it.
indemnification part.
And that's why she said, that's why a judge would have to interpret.
That's indemnifying the city for whatever it has to pay. So if you're in a lawsuit, yes, the city and he's going to get sued. So if the city gets certain judgment, yeah, it sounds like the indemnification says, I'm gonna pay your first $100,000.
right. That's what it is.
But as an additional insured in a contract, if we do get sued, we take the litigation papers to his insurance agent and say, it's the same thing because we become an insured under his policy.
Yes, yes.
So he's still indemnifying us with his insurance for $1 million.
It's true as a secondary insured. It's true. You know, I mean, is KLC still gonna be brought into it? Yes. But I mean, and then it really becomes an issue of coverage between the insurance companies. So, but you're right. So the indemnification language does not become
Well, and I think apparently our concern is what might happen with the dogs on the loose. With that, at number 6, I'm not sure I understand that. Customer permits geese runner to allow their dogs to run off leash at the service address for the purpose of being geese. Of hazing. Customer acknowledges the service may be under the leash law or ordinance, but agreed to treat dogs as its own for leash. Is he putting I don't understand what he wants to do with it.
Basically,
I'm sure we can tinker with that language a little.
well, and basically what that's saying is the city might have an ordinance that says we have a leash law at the
We
park.
do.
We do. So therefore you
And-
can
and there-
operate without, they can't
Correct.
chase them without
And I understand
off
that.
the leash. That's what that's saying. Yes.
Yeah, but we can clarify that a little further. I think just to make sure everybody understands that that's, what he's looking for is not to be cited for not having his dog on.
Which,
Which
okay.
he wouldn't be able to do that job, so.
And I think and I know this is kind of time sensitive, but I think the whole thing that brought this up is does he have insurance? And now I think it's complicated with one paragraph saying $100,000 in limit and the other one saying a regular $1 million. Let's just treat him like we treat all of our other contractors and say we need $1 million worth of general liability insurance, listing us on the certificate as the insured party.
And from the beginning, that's what I've gone to him to do. And I think from his standpoint is a contract being placed. Once that contract is in place, he can get his insurance. And that's already, like I said, it's lined up. So once the contract is finalized, the next step for him is immediately say, all right, submit me the certificate. I'll pay you, whatever it is to get the certificate, and it's good to go. So that part is taken care of.
Well, I would think you would have insurance before we sign the contract. That guarantees that he can get it. This isn't a standard type policy that he's going to get.
Well, and again, he's not had insurance in the past. He's done work for UPS, the city of LaGrange, and Papa John Stadium. They've not required insurance of him. And the comment that he made to me was, if I wasn't required to get it, I wasn't going to have it. But if you're requiring me to get it, I'll get it. So I think if we don't sign the contract with him, he's not going to get insurance. So he's waiting for us to come to terms, I guess, on the contract. And he's assured me that that's already taken care of as far as his next step. So, and I believe him.
So his next step, if we had agreed to the contract, would be to go out and get the $1 million.
Yeah, which is lined up. It's literally just signing the deal with the insurance company.
Standard procedure is he's notified, the contractor is notified, yes, it's been approved, contract has been awarded to you, submit all of your documentation.
But he doesn't start work until we receive proof.
The proof.
And that's what we
Once he
do on
submits that
everything.
Information, which would include insurance certificates, then the city signs the contract, gives him copies, and says, now you're ready to proceed.
And it does state that in line item 8. It says a copy of insurance policy must be presented to the customer's representative prior to the start of service.
There you go.
So,
Well, I think we'd be okay with it then once he shows you the $1 million policy.
So are you all okay with deleting number 7 then?
Yeah, it takes.
That's fine with me.
And rewording 6.
And reword, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
How are you gonna reword it?
Just to make it
It
clear.
can't be on the leash and chasing
No, make
them.
it clear. I mean, that was not just Terry's question about it. I know some others have
Ron,
questioned it
how
as
was it
well.
unclear,
Where
number
it says
6?
we treat the dogs as if they're our own. That's the only thing we didn't understand.
They're
What
not
does
our
that mean?
dogs.
They're
We're
not our
just not
dogs.
enforcing the.
As its own for leash law purposes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
We just say,
That's
we're
what
not
that
gonna-
sounds
we're
like.
not
City resident dogs are allowed to run without a
Just
leash.
gonna- We're just gonna waive the leash law for this project.
You have to have a leash.
We got a lot
City
of
dog, country dog.
Yeah, right. Okay, is that it? Everybody clear?
Yes, bud.
We're clear as mud.
Yeah, we're-
All right, great. You ready to talk
Sure.
about Kevin?
All right. Let's hope so.
You'll be the first one.
All right. Talking about the Lincoln Heritage House cabin and the renovations, I believe it was towards the end of last year that I'd come to you all and talked about the condition of the cabin, some possible proposals as far as renovating it and stuff. You all have a memo in front of you that outlines what we've done. Basically, we sent out to receive proposals for the cabin. We received 2 proposals back. One was from Vance Restoration, who did a repair in 2008 and also did the rebuild in 2009. And the other one was from American Antique Cabin Company, who we had met with out at the cabin itself. Basically, the 2 proposals, there's a big difference in the materials that are used, specifically the chinking. After sitting down with both Andy Mills and Tony Vance of each company, myself, Charlie, Sherry Murphy, which tourism, by the way, is splitting the cost of this project. We sat down with both individuals and we felt very good with Andy Mills, his proposal. One of the things, again, the chinking is the basic difference in all of this, and there's 2 different methods. Andy Mills has a mortar Portland-based, it's a hard material type chinking, where Tony Vance has the synthetic material that's out there right now, and as we've seen, it's failing. Sitting down and talking with Tony, he does stand behind that type of chinking, but he says that there are maintenance issues that continually need to be addressed. And one of the things in his proposal is a maintenance plan that would be in addition to the renovation. So moving forward, my recommendation on this is Andy Mills. I believe that not only the look of the cabin is going to be more authentic, but it's going to stand up much longer than what Tony Vance has recommends. The other thing I will say is I did reach out to the references on Andy Mills' list, and not only could they not say enough about him as an individual, but about his work, and we're extremely pleased with the product that they got. So I know there's a big difference in price, but that price is a reflection of the material involved in the work. So
Well, he's also replacing logs versus just kind of trimming some logs.
Yeah.
true, there's 6 logs on the structure that are well, not completely, but mostly rotted.
Yeah.
He's going to completely replace those. Tony Vance has basically said that he would cut out the rot and fix that patch back.
And Seth, I even feel better about your recommendation because the tourism, Sherry, you all concur with that. I think that's the best way to go for sure.
I
think
feel
we-
better about both the proposals because both of them came with
Insurance.
$1 million worth of general liability insurance. I
What's
mean,
that
it's,
difference? All right, can they be on a leash?
you know, it's pretty standard stuff that
Yeah.
we're asking for
Right.
And thank you to tourism for helping us.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Fall down. Right. Thank you, Seth. All right. Charlie's going to talk about the cemetery. This was a solemn occasion.
Of course, we have a maintenance agreement for basically for mowing at the cemetery, but it includes some picking up of trash and clearing leaves and limbs and things like that. The agreement actually expires at the end of this month, and for whatever reason, we didn't pre-bid, and it's not really a good chance right now to get a bid out and get, if it were to be a different contractor, get them set up. So what I'd like to suggest is that council extend this agreement through this mowing season, say 8 months until the end of November. Then we can bid and get a new agreement set up for next year at the start of mowing season. Bring that to you on Monday, if that's okay.
Everybody?
I'm comfortable with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, Don Hill. He left. Okay. Okay, good, good. Here he comes. Thanks. Showtime.
Good afternoon. Just wanted to announce to the council and the media that last week we released the schedule and the guidelines for our spring cleanup. It will be held during the month of April. One thing a couple things we did different this year than we've done in the past is that we use social media. So you'll find the schedule, the guidelines, the aerial or the area map that's covered by our spring cleanup, which is the same as brush pickup and fall leaf pickup. That will be on social media, be on the Elizabethtown Police Department's website, City of Elizabethtown government's website, and also, Facebook page, those two. And then on the City of Elizabethtown's website, which is www.elizabethtownky.org. Today, probably will be speaking in the next 3 weeks just to give reminders. Next week, since it's a formal session and it'll be televised, probably go into a little more detail. But this week, I'm just going to talk about some of the issues that we see prior to and then during the month of April, and then what people can do. So first off, what we do notice, and we've already noticed, is illegal dump sites. So, we're asking our customers is, if you set it out in front of your house curbside, we will pick it up. So we would like to cut down on the illegal dump sites. And if your junk and debris is generated from within the corporate limits of Elizabethtown, if you have it loaded, bring it down to 301 Waterworks Drive. We will take it. So, if you're in a hurry, you want to get rid of it, you can bring it down there as long as it's generated within the city limits. So we will ask the address from where it comes from. One thing that we notice in years past, and certainly will probably be this year, and we ask that the residents or customers don't put out, is garbage, household garbage. We will not pick that up. Liquids, we see that sometimes. So liquids, there is a disposal method for liquids, and you can use that with your, with your garbage collector or your waste collector. Construction debris. If it's a new construction site, we will not pick it up. Okay, if you have a 2x4 in your garage and you want to set it out, we will pick that up. But if it's a construction site and you're putting all the leftovers, we will not pick that up. Tires, we do have one area in the city that people like to dump tires. We will not pick up tires. So we ask that you not put those out. And the other thing is appliances that contain Freon. We will not pick them up unless the Freon's been removed through an approved process and that appliance has been tagged. If you do that, we will pick those up, and there is a schedule for that. And next week I'll announce the days when we'll start, and then also the week that's designated for appliances. Would also like to announce electronics. We get calls quite a bit about electronics, televisions, computers, anything like that. We will not pick those up. However, on April the 22nd, 2017, there is a e-scrap recycling event that will be held at AGC Automotive on 62 West. And that is a partnership with Hardin County government. There's several industries that are involved, and then some civic clubs. I think it's the Women's Club of Elizabethtown, and then Louisville, or I'm sorry, the League of Women Voters. Also, Hardin County Landfills announced their free dump days. One is during the month of April. It's April 8th. Then you have July the 15th, and then October 7th. So those are the free dump days at the Hardin County landfill. And that's about what I have for today. Are there any questions?
Where's the e-scrap event?
That's at AGC Automotive, Litchfield Road.
They'll take old computers.
Yes. April 22nd. I think the time is 8 to 2. Yeah, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
What do they do with them? They put them on those big.
I don't know. So, and also anything that we pick up that can be recycled, we do recycle that. Okay.
Thank you, Don.
All right.
It's a great effort to help with the cleanup, paint up, fix up in spring, have us looking good. Anything else?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Don's got one.
Oh,
One more
great.
thing. I'm sorry. Okay, been a busy week in Public Works. To help Seth with his geese removal operation, honestly, talking about junk and debris, at the property at 215 East Knolls Road that has been demoed, and the only thing that we have left to do is site work. So regrading, plant some grass seed, and sow straw, or put out straw. So anyway, the building and the house has been removed. Okay.
Our Public Works Department's. Okay, is that it? They're gonna get them.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Zach, the concert was great.
Yes.
Oh, man. You were happy?
I'm gonna meet with them. Upstairs. You gonna come?
Yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Company tonight. We're having company tonight. Are we?
I don't.